right, well, we might have like one person on here, and that's okay. Gosh, I haven't done a live yoga video in close to 87 years, I think. I've just had a lot of people asking for yoga classes, and so I thought, why not? If you're live and you're around, join me. If you aren't, well, hopefully you're alive. Ooh, too soon. If you aren't live with us right now, I'm going to post this so you can watch it anytime. Yeah. So we'll get started here in about 2 minutes. I'm so excited. I mean, I've taught yoga since 87 years ago, but not a live video. I'm so nervous. We'll see how it goes. Just so you know, Logan is currently downstairs on a football meeting, and Jackson, Emma, and Carly have been charged with taking care of Luna. So if you hear a scream or a squeal in the background, I'm sure she's perfectly fine. No, nothing to worry about here, folks. Hey, if you haven't done yoga before, or it's been a long time, I just want to remind you to listen to your body. Okay, do not push yourself farther than your body wants to go. It's 7:30. We've been holed up for a couple weeks now, eating whatever we have, like the cauliflower rice in the back of the freezer that you thought you were gonna eat once. Maybe you've scrounged that up and you've mixed it with some frozen stir-fry vegetables. Yeah, that's me. I was hungry and I was going through the freezer and I was like, what can I make? So I had a bag of, I'm pretty sure it was freezer burnt, but who knows for certain, of stir-fry vegetables and then a bag of cauliflower rice. And I was like, soy sauce will really just take care of anything. So I just it wasn't bad. I mean, I wouldn't make it again, but hey, Rhonda. Ooh, 6 friends. That's exciting. If you're just tuning in, I let everybody know that if you hear a baby squealing in the background, know that she's perfectly safe. She's just being watched by Jackson, Emma, and Carly, and they're probably bribing her with marshmallows. So that's my life right now. I literally went to the store just to buy mini marshmallows because I'm training my daughter. No, I'm just kidding. That's totally a joke. Okay, let's get started. Let's get started. This is one of those moon balls. If you don't have one of these, get it, or don't. It doesn't really matter, but look at this thing. It's Luna. Huh, get it? It's her nightlight. But these things are amazing, so. Make sure you're comfortable. If you have a mat, great. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. Let's just sit up tall. You don't have to sit like this. You can just plop your legs out if you want to. You can sit like this if that's more comfortable to you. Don't worry about trying to sit like a yogi or anything. I don't know what this was, so. Oh, remember, it's been 87 years since I've done a live video and I ramble sometimes, so just go with it, guys. I promise we will get to a relaxing state. Let's just sit up tall and just start to breathe for now. Don't try to breathe any certain way. Don't try to breathe like you saw on a Instagram video once. Just breathe. Just notice your breath. Maybe kind of let out a sigh as you start to get yourself in the right frame of mind. Start to deepen your breath a little bit. Maybe drawing in a little bit more air. And maybe lengthening your exhales. Sit up tall. And now really bring a little bit more awareness. Bring some more attention to that breath. So maybe it takes you 5 or 6 seconds to inhale. Make sure it takes you that same 5 or 6 seconds to exhale. Or maybe you think that you're exhaling and you're really not completely exhaling. So take your inhale and then exhale. And at the end of your exhale, exhale just a little bit more. Really engage that diaphragm as you exhale. You'll feel it. If you exhale and then you have more to exhale and you didn't realize it, you'll feel it right here. Get that air out. As you inhale, your belly should be pushing out. I know that we breathe every day. You guys are probably breathing experts, but we don't breathe completely. We don't inhale completely. We don't exhale completely. So try that. Inhale. And when we take those deep breaths, sometimes we notice that our chest and our shoulders kind of rise. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about lifting yourself tall as you breathe. Take an inhale, feel your chest push out, feel your lungs fill, and then feel your belly push out. Maybe your eyes are closed, bringing your focus inward. Maybe you have a baby crawling all over you, who knows? Try your best. Let's go ahead and do some shoulder rolls. Just kind of loosen up a little bit. Maybe shoulder rolls aren't your jam, so maybe you just kind of want to do a couple gentle twists. Maybe you just kind of want to shrug them. Maybe you want to give yourself a big, I've been mastering e-learning with my kids and I've got 100 children at home with me and I'm losing my mind and we're out of food and there's no bread at the store. Maybe you just want to give yourself a big hug. We're all in this together, friends. And you're in your own homes, probably. So don't worry about if you look silly giving yourself a giant hug. Don't worry about if you're like, what am I shrugging? What's happening? Maybe you feel like you look silly. That's okay, right? Nobody's here to judge you. Nobody can see you. Maybe your hubby's sitting in the corner or your sister's over in the next room over, like kind of looking over. What are you doing? Let them go. This is your time. Maybe you're just sitting on a couch with the TV on and you're watching this. Hopefully you join us, but if not, that's okay. Mom, Linda, I'm talking to you. Let's take a big deep breath, arms all the way up and back down. Let's go ahead and start to roll that neck out, loosen everything up. Maybe side to side feels good. Make sure that you're moving slow enough that you can feel if anything catches or doesn't feel quite right. Don't just start bobbleheading up here. Move nice and slow. Feel every single movement. Maybe you hit a spot and you're like, oh gosh, I need to kind of work that out a little bit more. Work it out. Friends, this is your practice. I'm just here to facilitate. Let's go ahead and pull that ear down toward our shoulder, and if you'd like to, if you want to, you don't have to. Let's take that opposite arm out, reaching, maybe pressing those fingertips in a bit. Not something you have to do, but you can if you want. If you do it, you're like, oh, that's awful. Why would anybody do that? Don't do it. It's that simple, you guys, really. Nothing I say is something you have to do. This is a one-way camera. I can't see you. And switch to the other side. Reach that arm out if you want to. Let's pull down gently on the back of our head. And if you'd like to here, you can kind of roll your shoulders, roll that spine down. And you might feel it all the way into your hips or your lower back. If you're like, oh gosh, that's too much, just sit up. But relax those elbows, relax your arms down. And back up. We're going to take our right hand back behind us. Our left hand is going to go to the outside of that right knee, and we're just going to gently twist. Don't crank yourself around. We're not trying to pop every, vertebrae in our back. Just gently twist until it feels right to you. Take that head and look out over your shoulder. Inhale and exhale. Don't forget to breathe through this. And the other side, same thing. Left hand's gonna go back behind us. Right hand to the outside of that left knee and twist. Nice and gentle. Breathe, inhale, and exhale. And back to center. Deep breath, arms all the way up. Let's go ahead and fold forward, reach that forehead to the ground. You don't have to touch, but just know that that's where you're headed. And breathe through this. If you're like, oh, what do you mean breathe? I'm suffocating. Bring those hands up a little bit. You will not receive an E certificate or an E trophy after this. I mean, if they had it, it'd be cool, but I don't have those, so listen to your body. Let's walk our hands all the way over to the right, reaching, feeling that stretch, maybe inching that left hand out just a little bit more. Now all the way back across middle to the opposite side, maybe inching that right hand out. And back to center. Let's walk back up. Now we're gonna switch legs. So whichever foot is in front is now behind. If your legs are like this or out to the front, that's okay, but make sure that both hips. Big deep breath, arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward. Reach those fingers out. And again, that forehead aiming down, it doesn't have to touch, that's where we're headed. All the way over to the right. Feel that stretch in our side. Across middle, over to the other side. Reach out with that right arm maybe. You don't have to, but you can. Back to center and up. Big deep breath, arms all the way up. Exhale, hands at heart. Just check in with your breath for a moment. Let's go ahead and move into child's pose. So we're going to get up on our knees and we're going to drop that bottom down to our heels, and maybe they touch, maybe they don't. Let's take those arms out, and you can come all the way out here if you'd like to. You can bring your arms down if you kind of want to rest like this. If you're like, that's not happening for me, you can stack your fists up and just rest your head down. This is your resting pose. This is your relaxing pose. So make sure it works for you. Make sure you're comfortable. If you're like, what is she doing? I can't do that. You don't have to. And right now, set an intention for yourself. And if you're like, I don't want to set an intention, then maybe with every exhale, you want to imagine that you're sending out positive vibes into the world, or just positivity in general, right? We need a lot of that these days. So maybe if you're like, gosh, I don't want to set an intention, I just want to do the yoga. That's okay too. You don't have to breathe out positivity, and you don't have to set intentions for you. Maybe just being here is enough. Check in with your breath. Pay attention to how with every inhale, your belly and your chest press against your thighs. And with every exhale, that tension releases. And if you can't get comfortable still, maybe take those legs a little farther apart and you can kind of just nestle yourself down in here. Whatever works. But breathe. Let's take that right hand underneath of our left and just reach out, looking toward that extended right arm. And maybe if you need something a little bit more, you can take that left hand and bring it up onto your fingertips and kind of press in there. Breathe through any sensations you're feeling. Maybe you're feeling it in your armpit. Maybe you're not feeling anything. Maybe your feet are asleep and you notice that. Let's switch opposite side here. Right hand's going to go out. Left is going to reach out underneath and we're going to look that direction. Option to bring that right hand up onto fingertips and press in. And all the way back up. Let's move into cat-cow. So we're going to position those knees right under our hips. Arms right under our shoulders. A nice straight back here. The tops of our feet, wherever's comfortable. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, let's push away from the mat. Really arch that back up for cat. Tuck the chin. And if you'd like to, you can bring those heels in. You don't have to, but you can. On your next inhale, roll your hips and look forward. Really relax that belly down. Now go ahead, your own breath, your own pace. Curl those toes in. Your own breath, your own pace. With every exhale, you push away. And really feel the stretch. Don't just go through the motions, but feel every movement. Every time you roll your spine, feel that every vertebrae, one at a time, all the way up. You should be feeling a stretch in your belly here as you look forward. Go ahead, 3 to 5 breaths. Really breathe through everything. That breath should be your guide. Let's do one more. Let's go ahead and move into a neutral spine so we have a nice straight back here. Deep breath, we're going to lift that left arm up, reach it up toward the ceiling, look up with it. Really open up the chest here. Exhale, let's bring it down underneath of the right. And we can keep that arm up if we want to, or we can take it straight out in front of us. Remember not to push yourself farther than your body wants to go. Listen to your body. If you're hurting, if it doesn't feel good, then stop. If it's just a little uncomfortable, maybe see if you can breathe through it. If you're in pain, loosen up, lighten up a bit. And back to center. Make sure those knees are under our hips, arms are under our shoulders. Big reach up with that right arm. Inhale, look up. Maybe give your fingers a little wiggle. Open up here. Exhale, bring it down, thread it underneath of that left arm, reach out. Option to leave hand here, or you can take it out if you want to. Eating my hair. Just breathe. Breathe through any sensations. Try to relax your belly. And back up. Let's go ahead and come up onto our knees. We're going to take that right leg out to the side. You can't see them, I'm off screen, but my toes are pointed forward. Big deep breath. We're going to take that left arm, reach over. feel that stretch through our sides. So every time we take an inhale, we should feel that space in between each one of our ribs getting just a little bit wider. Breathe through everything. Maybe you're feeling it right here. Maybe you're feeling it here. Maybe you're on a wooden floor and your knees hurt. I don't know. Let's take it across. Try to make a straight line from the tips of your fingers all the way down your arm, across your body, down your leg, reaching out. Reaching for something just out of reach. So really reach up. Don't just hold your arm up there. And back to center. Let's take the opposite leg out. Again, those toes should be pointing forward. Your knees under your hip, underneath of your shoulder. Big deep breath. The right arm reaches over. Left arm slides down the leg. Don't press into your knee, but just reach. Again, feel that stretch right here. Or maybe with every inhale, you want to pay attention to those ribs, that space right in between them. And breathe. Take it across again. Make that nice straight line, reaching for something just out of reach. Whatever it is, that last loaf of bread. And back to center. Let's go ahead and move into a plank. Several options here. We can drop back to our toes if we'd like to. We can drop down to our knees. If we are using our knees, make sure they're not underneath of our hips. They're back behind here. Arms are under our shoulders. Fingers are spread wide. I'm going to join you on my knees today, so don't feel alone if you're like, oh, I'm going to pretend like I'm on my toes, but nobody really knows for sure. So just so you know, I am on my knees with you. If you're like, you know what, I'm kind of powerful, maybe you want to be on one knee. I don't know. Big deep breath. Exhale, let's lower down nice and slow. Hold just above the mat. All the way down. Inhale, push up. Maybe right here is just enough for you today, or maybe you want to push all the way up into upward. If that's the case, make sure you're not hurting yourself. Make sure you're not feeling any pain. Make sure the tops of our feet are down. I'm not sure if they're in the picture, but make sure your toes aren't down, just the tops of our feet. Deep breath. Let's push up. All the way up for downward facing dog here. So really reach out. Fingers spread wide. Reach those heels down. Relax your head and neck. Relax your hair. Relax everything. If you're like, no, I can't even breathe. How am I supposed to relax? Just take an exhale and let it go. Let's go ahead and walk forward and hang loose for a ragdoll. So we have a small bend in our knees. Upper body's just hanging over. Maybe your glasses are sliding off of your face. Feel free to grab opposite elbows and just sway a little bit if you want to. But the key thing here is to relax your head and neck. Really let that tension go, because even here, we want to hold our head up. We want to kind of look around. And I know you might be like, I've got to look around because I'm seeing what you're doing on the phone. That's okay. Relax your head and neck. I won't move for just like 3 seconds, so relax your head and neck. Just take an exhale and just shake it out. Inhale up halfway. Exhale down. Let's straighten those legs. Maybe you want to reach your toes. Maybe you want to reach the back of your legs. Maybe your ankles, calves, whatever it is. Maybe you're just like, nah, forget that. I'm going to give myself a little massage. Go for it. Still relax the head and neck. Take those big deep breaths. Don't forget to breathe here. Inhale up halfway. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. Arms up. Exhale, hands at heart. Let's just breathe for a moment. Get used to that standing up. Maybe come back to that intention you set for yourself. Remind yourself that you're here. You've given this time to yourself. Let's take those arms up overhead, maybe clasping our hands, maybe just kind of reaching side to side. Maybe you want to do circles, maybe forward and backward is what works best for you today or what feels best. Just get some movement in here. Do a little jig if you want to, I don't care. Move around, maybe come up onto your toes, stretch everything out. If you fall, that's okay. Jump back up. Big deep breath if you haven't already. Let's reach to the right. Really feeling that stretch in our side. Looking up toward those hands. Again, just reaching. We're not just sticking our arms out here. We're reaching up, we're reaching out. You should feel a lot more pressure on your right leg than your left. All the way back to the other side. Again, reaching, feeling that stretch through our side. This time you should be feeling more pressure on your left leg than your right. And back to center, hands at heart. Go ahead and move into a balancing pose. We're gonna move into tree. If you typically do yoga somewhere else or you're a seasoned vet here, feel free to move into any balancing pose that you're currently working on. Otherwise, let's really plant that right foot down. For me, I really step into it. I spread my toes apart. I make an intentional effort to plant that foot. So whenever you feel sturdy, take a big deep breath. Lift that leg up. Whichever foot you're working on first. My right foot's planted, so I'm lifting my left. And I'm just gonna put it right here against my calf. If you don't feel comfortable with this, you can drop those toes down and just leave that heel on your leg. If you're like, no, this is way too easy, sister, well, hike that leg up here. You can pick it up and move it wherever you need to move it. It helps to stare at something not moving. Really engage that core, engage that belly button. And when I say engage, what I don't mean is to suck everything in as tight as you can possibly bring it in, but I mean to use those muscles. You have them there, you have that core to help you. And if you're like, no, I don't have a core, you do, it just might be little. And if you're here and you feel comfortable and you feel safe, you can take those arms up. If you'd like to, if you're like, oh, I got this down, maybe close your eyes and see if that changes things a little. All the way back down, release nice and slow, don't just fall out of it. Maybe shake that ankle out if you need to, roll it out. And now the other side, really plant that foot down. And if you're by a wall, feel free to turn sideways and use that wall to help you. Plant that foot down, make that conscious effort to really spread your toes and dig it in a little bit. Big deep breath whenever you're ready. Your right leg comes up and place it against that strong, sturdy leg. Feel free to drop your toes down anytime you need to. And if you find that you keep stumbling out of it and kind of falling out of it, don't just keep lifting that leg back up. Come back to center, take a breath, and lift it up. Really recenter yourself if you need to. Replant that foot. Hike it up if you want to. Take your arms up. Maybe you want to take them out to the side. Maybe you just kind of want to sway in the breeze. I don't know. Whatever tree you want to be, go for. Maybe you're like an evergreen and I don't know, willow, whatever. I think I took that one a little too far. Whenever you're ready, step back out of it. Big deep breath. Let's go ahead and move to the front of your mat. Whatever that is for you, however your mat's positioned, maybe just what would be the front of your mat if you don't have a mat. Take a breath. We're going to take a big deep breath, arms up. Let's step back with the left foot. We're going to move into our warrior series here pretty quickly. If you're like, oh gosh, what's a warrior series? Just stay with me. That back leg should be straight. We're gonna bend that front knee so it lines up with our heel, or maybe before it, that's okay. Just make sure that we're not popped way out over that heel. Your hips and shoulders should be in line. Arms are up if it feels okay to you. And just lunge into that front foot. And remember, I'm saying lunge, but I don't want that knee to pop out over that foot. Just breathe. Give yourself a little pep talk here. Remind yourself how strong you are, how powerful you are. Even in the midst of a global pandemic, you're still strong, you're still powerful. Breathe, slow the breath. Breathe through any shakiness you might feel. If your hands get a little bit dizzy, or, well, if your head gets dizzy, bring your hands down. Let's go ahead and move into our hips facing forward here. Knees still in line. Arms straight out, strong arms. So if I were to go around and push down on your arms, if I was in your house, I guess, they shouldn't move too far down. There should be some resistance. We're gonna look to the right, just over the top of that right hand, and still lunge in here. Make sure that we're not letting that knee cave in. We're bringing it back. Our hips and shoulders are facing forward. So our right foot should be pointing to the right. Our left foot should be pointing straight in front of us. And we're looking to the right. Relax those shoulders away from your neck, away from your ears. And breathe. Looking into the future here, but still right here in the present. Make sure that back arm doesn't droop. Breathe through everything you're feeling. Relax those shoulders down again. Deep breath. Left arm comes down. Relax down here by your leg. Right arm comes up. Maybe we're lunging a little bit deeper here. Again, that left arm's just hanging out. Right arm's up. We're reaching up. Maybe we're reaching back. We're looking up. We're feeling strong and powerful. This is my favorite. Breathe. Deep breath. Right arm's going to come down to that knee. We're going to place it right here. Left arm's going to come up to open up and really open up that chest. Reach up, maybe reach back. And maybe you're like, holy cow, I'm just going to stand here like this. Whew. Go for it. If you're like, this is awesome, I'm feeling great, maybe take that right hand down. Whatever feels good to you. Deep breath. Let's bring that arm down just beside our foot. Feel free to move into a deep lunge here if you'd like to. Otherwise, you can just kind of wait a moment and just slip into a child's pose for a moment. And just stretch everything back out, or just relax everything back out. And maybe you're just like, oh, what? You can sit here like this if you want to also. Just breathe for a moment. Go ahead and come up, step back for a plank. Again, knees are an option, toes are great, one or the other is fine, maybe both. Nice and slow, lower yourself down, hold just above the mat for just a breath. And down. Inhale, push up. Right here is perfectly fine, or maybe all the way up for upward facing dog. If we're in upward facing dog, make sure those arms are right under our shoulders. Our tops of our feet are down. And we're really pressing those hips in. Working to lift those legs up. If we still have those knees down, that's okay. My pants are baggy, you can't see, but my legs are up off the mat. Deep breath, let's curl our toes and push up for a downward. Breathe. Relax your head and neck, fingers spread wide. Reach those heels down, belly button pulled in tight. Deep breath, let's walk forward. Hang loose for just a moment. Make sure you're breathing. Inhale up halfway. Exhale down. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands at heart. Just breathe for a moment. Go ahead and move to the front of your mat or move to the end of it if you kind of want to still be facing the same direction. Big deep breath. Let's step back with that right leg this time. So same thing, opposite leg here. Know that one leg is always stronger than the other. So if you're all shaky on one leg and the other leg was perfectly fine and you felt strong and powerful, it's okay. You know what leg you need to focus on. Again, lunge into that front foot, knees overlined with heel. Make sure it's either back behind, but never way out front. If you're way out here and you're like, but this is what I have to do to feel something, move that back leg back a little bit more. Belly button in tight, hips and shoulders in line. So your left hip should be in line with your left knee. Deep breath, arms all the way up. And let's lunge in. Give yourself that pep talk. Or maybe just say inhale and say exhale. If you start to feel a little dizzy or lightheaded, just bring hands to heart. Don't feel like you have to have them up the whole time. Deep breath. Let's bring those hands to heart and pivot our body for a warrior two. So this time our right foot should be pointing forward. Our left foot should be pointing to the left. Hips and shoulders in line facing forward this time. Our body's going to want to go this direction at an angle. Bring it back. Don't let that knee cave in. You guys got this. You guys are so strong. I can see through to you right now. You guys look so good. Take those strong arms out. Relax. Relax and roll those shoulders down. Look to the left, just above that hand. Exhale, relax into it. Maybe make sure that we're lunging. We still have that warrior knee. Our back arm's not drooping. And maybe if you're like, hey, what else can I do? Flip those hands over, palms facing up if you want to. Maybe you're like, heck, I'm going into windmills, sister. Go for it. I won't stop you. I like to give my fingers a little wiggle because I hold them out really tight sometimes. Deep breath, right arm comes down, left comes up. Still lunging up front, right arm's just hanging out. Feeling extra, super powerful now. Inhaling and exhaling. Deep breath, left arm's coming down to that knee. Opening up the chest now. When I say open up, I really mean reach up, but not just up. Take it back a little if you can. If you've been doing yoga for a while, or maybe you do Pilates or something, take that arm back behind you. Working on that half bind or a bind if that's where you are in your own practice. Maybe taking that arm down to the mat. Deep breath, let's bring that right arm down. Feel free to again move into that low lunge or the lizard here if that's what you're working on in your own practice. Know that again, when I say lunge, we're not coming way out over here. We're back. Or feel free now to just kind of move into that child's pose if that feels good to you. Find something that works for your body. Remember that this is your resting pose. So if you're trying to do what I'm doing, you're like, that feels terrible. How is she even relaxed? Well, this is my body, not yours. So find what works for you. Don't feel like you have to do something the right way or what you're doing is the wrong way. Just breathe, check in with that breath. Don't fall asleep. Let's go ahead and come up. Step back for a plank. Again, knees are an option. Always, toes are an option, whatever works for you. Nice and slow, lower down. Inhale, push up. Deep breath, curl those toes, push up for a downward. Relax your head and neck here. Breathe, feel that belly button pulled in. Reach those heels down, maybe give your head a little shake just to make sure you're not holding any extra tension. Nice and slow, let's walk forward or jump forward. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands at heart. Slow your breath. Control your breath. Maybe your breath has become a little bit more shallow, or maybe your heart rate's picked up a bit. Take a big deep breath in, and as you exhale, see if you can just focus on slowing your heart rate. Control your breath. When we start to run out of breath, our body wants to go and just breathe really shallow. Take that deep breath in and show your breath who's boss. Let's take those feet farther than shoulder width apart. Toes pointed out or straight ahead, whatever feels better to you. Big deep breath, arms all the way up. Exhale, let's fold forward, reaching for middle. Relax your head and neck. If you're like, I don't even feel anything, what's the point of this? Move your legs farther apart. Again, relax your head and neck. We hold so much tension there. Let it go. Deep breath. Let's walk our hands over to the right, reaching for the outside of that right foot. And just if you want a little bit extra zing, grab those big toes and pull them in. Pull them in toward middle. You should feel that on the outside of your calf here. If you're like, no, why would anybody do that? Just put it back out. It's okay. You tried it. Good for you. Deep breath, let's walk all the way back across middle over to the outside of the left foot. Again, option to grab that big toe, pull it in toward middle, and then reach down for the outside of that foot. Back to middle here. Big deep breath, let's walk those hands out in front and really press back into those heels. If you feel safe and comfortable here, feel free to drop down to forearms. If you try that and you're like, what is she, crazy? Just come back up. If you're like, I'm not even trying that, just wait for us. We'll meet you in a moment. Deep breath, let's walk those hands back in, and this time we're gonna turn our hands around, fingers facing back behind us, and we're gonna walk those hands back as far as they're gonna go, maybe even inch those fingertips back. Big deep breath in. Exhale, press those palms in and just kind of relax our upper body here. And back up, all the way up, nice and slow. Inch those feet in, kind of heel toe up. Take those arms straight out in front of us like we're holding a beach ball, up on our toes. And nice and slow, we're gonna lower all the way down as slow as we can. Again, try to stay up on those toes, try to move slow, pull that belly button in. If you gotta hoist those pants up, go ahead. All down. Maybe you're already feeling in the shake and you're like, forget it, I'm already down. That's okay. All the way down. And when you're all the way down, let's take those feet apart if that feels good to you. Maybe you can stay up on your toes, or maybe you want to drop down to flat feet here, whatever works for you. We're going to take those elbows to the insides of our legs, hands together. Take a big deep breath here. Make sure we're sitting tall. Our body's going to kind of want to hunch over here. Nice and tall. Keep that posture like we have a rod going from the base of our spine, up our spine, our neck, and straight out the top of our head. Press those palms together. Big deep breath. Exhale, press them down, bring them to heart, and just allow your elbows to turn your knees out just a little bit more. Now, kind of adjust here if you need to. And just breathe. Allow your body to feel the stretch in your hips, in your thighs, wherever you're feeling it. If you're already popped a squat, that's where we're headed next, so feel free to have a seat whenever you want to. If you want to move into crow, if crow is in your practice, feel free to move into that now. If it's something that you'd like to start doing, but you have no idea what I'm even talking about, go ahead and take those hands to the mat or the floor in front of you. And just start to lean forward. Allow your arms to get used to taking some of that body weight. If you are moving into crow, go ahead and pop up onto those toes, take those knees into your armpits, your upper arms, and just lean forward, just until those feet kind of float up off the mat, whatever works for you. If you're like, ah, that's funny, just have a seat. It's fine. I'll join you. Let's just sit up tall. We're gonna give everybody just another 5 or 10 seconds or so if you are moving into crow. Or if you're like grabbing a drink, feel free. Just sit tall, check in with your breath. Slow everything down. Big deep breath, bring those arms all the way up. Just like the beginning, exhale, fold forward, reach those hands out, forehead down. And maybe you notice you're a little bit more loose than you were at the beginning of the practice. That's always my favorite, to kind of see if I've loosened up a bit. And back up. Let's switch legs. Whichever's in front is now behind, on top is now on bottom. Or again, maybe your legs are just straight out. That's okay too. Deep breath, arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward, reach them out. And back up. Let's turn sideways on our mats. Legs straight out in front of us. We're sitting up nice and tall. Big deep breath, arms all the way up. Exhale, fold forward, reach for those toes, those ankles, calves, whatever we can, and really just pull ourselves forward. Again, don't feel like you have to touch your toes, or if you don't touch your toes, you're an awful failure. Don't worry about your toes. Grab whatever you can. Maybe it's just your ankles here, but pull yourself forward. Really feel that stretch. And then breathe. Don't forget that part. And back up. We're gonna move into boat pose here. So bring those knees in, feet flat on the mat here. We're gonna lean back just so that our feet come up off the mat. Make sure that we're not way back here on our lower back. You can kind of feel, if you kind of start to roll back here with me, you can feel when you slide up off your hips. So we're sitting here, nice and tall. Again, we're not hunching forward, so we still have that pull. So even as we're moving back, our whole upper body is coming back too. Feet are up off the mat. Strong arms out in front, big deep breath whenever you're ready. Let's take those legs out, and if we're here and we're like, oh, that's kind of easy, what else can I do? Maybe lift them up. If you're like, no, then don't do it. You're fine, it's your practice. If you're like, heck yeah, I'm doing like a rowboat, Go for it. And back in, your own breath, your own pace. Go ahead and do 1 or 2 more. And if you're like, no, where can I go from here? We're just gonna start to slowly lower ourselves all the way down. Maybe kind of grab those legs and allow yourself to roll back. But bring those knees into chest. Well, wait a second if you're doing rowboats or calisthenics or something. When you're all the way down, feel free to do what feels good here. Maybe you kind of want to take your knees side to side. Just kind of rock side to side if that feels good to you. Maybe you like to pull one knee in and straighten the other leg out. That always feels good. I love to take my arms out to the sides and just drop those knees down to either side. Whatever feels good to you here. Let's take those legs straight up overhead. Hands on our belly and just hold for a moment. If you're close to a wall, maybe turn and put those feet up. Just hold them up for just 2 or 3 breaths. All the way in, all the way out. Feel your hands rise on your belly and fall. Try to keep those legs straight. Toes pulled in toward our body. If you'd like to move into happy baby pose, feel free. We grab the outsides of our feet, pull those knees into our armpits, and we just rock side to side. Legs straight up overhead. Hands again on our belly or down to our sides, and nice and slow, we're going to lower them all the way down to the mat. With control, all the way down, slower than you want to go. Feel that in the abs, feel it in your core, all the way down. And when you're all the way down, let's take those hands either to our belly or out to the sides, palms facing up. Take those legs farther than shoulder width apart here. If you have a blanket, go ahead and grab it. If this is bothering your lower back, feel free to pull a knee or both knees in, or maybe just let your legs fall to the sides if that feels good to you. Just make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're in a spot that you can stay in for a few moments. I want you guys to stay down, lying down. I'm going to sit up so that you can hear my voice, okay? That I'm not yelling at my ceiling. Just breathe. Again, make sure you're in a spot that you can stay in for a moment. For a few moments, actually, as we move into this time of relaxation. Whenever you're ready, take a big deep breath in. Pull in as much air as you can take in. Feel yourself lift up off the mat or lift up off the ground. Hold it for just a second, and as you exhale, exhale with the sigh. Just let it all out. So we... And as you exhale, let it all go. Not just the air, but the tension you're holding in your body too. Let it all out. Again, another big deep breath in. Feel your body lift up. Exhale with a sigh, let it all out. Feel your body melt in. Let go of any tension you're holding anywhere in your body. Maybe start right at those heels and allow your feet to fall farther to the sides. Move up your legs, right where your calves hit the floor. Flow up our legs to our bottom, right where it hits the mat, right where it hits the floor. Just feel that connection. And now take a moment to stop on that right side, right where our back and our bottom and our hip all meet. Take a big deep breath in. Exhale. Let that spot go. We hold so much tension there. that sometimes it almost hurts to physically relax that spot, or we have to really concentrate to let that tension go. Move over to the left side. Big deep breath in. Let that hip go. Let's flow up our spine to our shoulder blades. Kind of adjust if we need to. Remember, we're all lying down on the mats. I'm just sitting up so that my voice is reaching you. So if you've set up with me, lay back down. Let's flow down that right arm, right, and just kind of give those fingers a wiggle and let them fall. Whatever's natural, whatever's comfortable. Let's flow back up that right arm, down our left. Again, right to the spot on the back of our hand where it hits the floor. Give those fingers a wiggle and let them fall. Back up that left arm, up our neck. Stopping at our jaw to make sure that we're not clenching our teeth together or pressing our tongue against the back of our teeth or the roof of our mouth. Maybe just kind of swallowing, licking our lips and just letting our mouth fall, whatever's natural. And if it's open a little bit, that's okay. If you're like drooling, that's okay too. You're really feeling it, I get it. Relax your cheeks. Make sure that we're not scrunching our eyes shut tight, but they're just closed gently. We think about relaxing our ears and even our hair, and our eyebrows and our forehead, and that spot just between our eyebrows where we hold so much tension, that furrowed brow that we get sometimes without even thinking about it. Bring your attention back to that spot on the back of your head, right where it hits the floor and the mat. Feeling how heavy it is. And maybe another big deep breath in, exhale. And know that this is your time. You have given yourself this time. You have carved this time out. Maybe you've joined us halfway through, or maybe you're watching this a week from now. This is time that you've given to yourself. Use this time. Allow yourself this opportunity to relax, this opportunity where you're not checking your phone and you're not checking your watch and you're not seeing what your heartbeat is on your Fitbit or how many steps you've taken, and you're not worried about a grocery list or e-learning or whatever else you have to do. Everything that you have to do will still be there when we're done. So give yourself the next few moments to be alone with your thoughts, alone with your breath, alone with your body. And know that, yes, I did mention thoughts. The goal of the next few moments is not to clear your mind and not think of anything. It's okay if your mind wanders. Notice those thoughts. Don't judge those thoughts. Try not to attach other feelings and emotions and ideas to those thoughts. Just say, oh, there's a thought. And just let it float on by like a cloud, and bring your awareness back to your breath or your anchor or any other sounds that you might be hearing. Maybe everything else is becoming background noise and you don't hear anything else but my voice. And maybe even my voice is kind of starting to drift away. These next few moments are yours. Your time to just be in this moment now. So enjoy the next few moments that belong only to you. start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring some awareness back to your body and back to your breath. Maybe reach overhead, get a good stretch in before rolling onto your side to pause for a moment. Maybe you just want to lay there on your side for a moment. Maybe your eyes are open or maybe they're closed. And just take in how calm and peaceful you feel. Whenever you're ready, with your breath and with intention, push yourself up into a sit. Whatever's comfortable for you. Let's take a big, deep, cleansing breath, arms all the way up. Exhale, bring hands to heart. Maybe just let a soft smile come over your face. And a gentle sigh. As you move forward through these crazy times that we're in, and you move forward through maybe tons of e-learning and different schedules than you've been used to your whole lives, remember as always to think good thoughts, use kind words, and do good deeds. Thank you guys so much for coming to my live Facebook shindig. Feel free to share, comment, message me if you just want to chat. I'm okay with all that. Thanks again. Namaste.